America keeps screaming about a massive labor shortage. But at the same time, over 10 million prime-age men, guys in their 20 to 54, are not working, not in school, not retired, and not even looking for a job. 10 million men. That's more than the entire population of New York City, just stepped off the field. The easy answer? They're lazy. Just get a job, bro. But when millions of men make the same choice, year after year, all across the country, maybe the real question is not, what's wrong with these guys? Maybe it's, what the hell changed about work in America? Today, we're diving deep into why so many men have quietly given up and why simply yelling "get a job" isn't going to bring them back. Stick around, because the real reasons might surprise you. For a very long time, the deal in America was pretty simple. You worked hard, got a decent job, and that job gave you a normal life. But for a lot of men today, it feels like that deal was torn up a long time ago. Imagine you're a 8-year-old guy working full-time at a grocery store. The month ends, bills hit, rent, groceries, gas, insurance, maybe a credit card payment you've been trying not to think about. You check your account, and you have $150 left. That's not really living. That's surviving in a work uniform. And this is where a lot of the old advice starts to sound almost ridiculous. Just work hard. Everybody has to start at the bottom. Okay, but what if the bottom doesn't lead anywhere anymore? That's the real frustration for a lot of men. It's not always the work itself. It's the feeling that no matter how hard you grind, your life doesn't actually move forward. Because a job is supposed to do more than just fill your schedule. It's supposed to help you get your own place, build savings, start a family if you want, and feel like a real adult. But when you work all week and still feel completely stuck, sooner or later you start asking a dangerous question: what the hell am I actually doing all this for? And once that question appears, showing up to work starts to feel very different. Because for some men, the problem isn't just that the paycheck is too small, it's that going to work can start to feel like a losing deal. And this is the part a lot of people don't want to admit. Going to work can actually get expensive before you even earn a dime. Gas, insurance, work clothes, lunch, tools, plus the biggest hidden cost of all, time. An 8-hour shift plus a 2-hour commute means 10 hours of your life are gone. Now imagine that job only puts you a few $100s ahead of staying home, living with family, odd jobs, or some assistance. Let's do the simple math. If staying home means surviving on $1,200 a month and taking the job pays $1,700, that sounds like you're $500 ahead. But then you start adding up the cost of going to work, and that alone eats up $600 a month. Now the job puts you $100 behind. In other words, you're paying money to be exhausted. And that's before the mental cost. Rude customers, managers who make you feel completely replaceable, and a schedule that basically controls your life. That's why the phrase "nobody wants to work anymore" misses the point. Most people don't hate work. They hate work that doesn't actually improve their life. And when a man stops believing in the old milestones, a house, marriage, kids, respect, his cost of living can drop fast. Just look around. How many people are living in a cheap room with internet, food, and maybe a screen to game on for hours? That life is not inspiring. It may not even be healthy, but it is cheap. And suddenly, the choice is not really between success and laziness. It is between being poor and exhausted or poor and free. But here's the bigger issue most people ignore. This is not just about personal decisions. The labor market itself is changing, and it is leaving a lot of men behind. For decades, men without college degrees had clear paths into the middle class. Factories, trucking, construction, mining, manufacturing, skilled trades. Those jobs weren't glamorous or easy. Many were brutal, but they gave men something priceless: a role. You built things, moved things, fixed things, and came home respected. But that old map to the middle class is fading. A lot of the growth is now in healthcare, elder care, home health, and social assistance, fields that are still mostly staffed by women and expanding as America gets older. For a man who grew up expecting to work with machines, trucks, tools, or physical labor, that shift is not small. Moving into a clinic, a nursing home, or a care job is not just a skills change. For some men, it feels like an identity change. And this is where education makes the gap wider. Women now earn a clear majority of college degrees. The modern economy increasingly rewards people with degrees, certificates, licenses, or flexible skills that can move from one industry to another. If you are a man without those credentials, every transition gets harder. So when male-heavy industries slow down, a lot of men do not just lose a paycheck. They lose the career path they were built around. And even when they try to get back in, finding a job has become its own kind of punishment. Ask people what job hunting feels like today, and most will tell you the same thing. It feels fake. You spend an hour filling out an online application, upload your resume, then the site forces you to type everything again. An algorithm scans it, and then silence. No rejection, no interview. And after doing that dozens or even hundreds of times, you start asking a very fair question. Are these companies actually hiring? Because sometimes the answer is no. Ghost jobs have become a real frustration for American workers. These are job postings that stay online even when the company is not actively hiring, already filled the role, or is just collecting resumes for some future, maybe someday opening. Whatever the reason, the result is the same. Workers are told there are tons of jobs out there, but when they apply, nothing happens. Then come the impossible requirements. Entry-level jobs, wanting 3 years of experience, basic roles, demanding degrees, good-paying positions, asking for unicorn skill sets. So from the worker's point of view, the message is completely backwards. Society says nobody wants to work. But when you apply, the system says nobody wants you. The longer you stay out, the harder it gets to return. A 6-month gap becomes a red flag. A year out turns into a bigger one. Employers start wondering why nobody else hired him, which makes it even less likely that they will. That's how withdrawal becomes a trap. And once a man is stuck outside the workforce, modern technology makes it easier than ever to stay there. Technology did not create this problem. Video games did not make rent unaffordable, YouTube did not shut down factories, TikTok did not make wages fall behind. But technology has made it much easier for someone to step away from real life and stay there. If a man has no job, no family, no clear future, and no reason to leave the house, the internet can fill his entire day. Gaming, scrolling, watching videos, ordering cheap food, or living through other people's lives on a screen. That does not mean he is happy. It means the situation becomes easier to tolerate. And that matters, because when the outside world feels expensive, humiliating, and impossible to win, a cheap digital world can start to feel safer than the real one. So no, technology is not the root cause. It is more like a painkiller. It does not fix the injury, but it makes the pain easier to ignore. And once dropping out becomes tolerable, coming back gets harder. Which is why this is not just a personal problem anymore. When millions of men drift out of work, the whole country eventually pays the price. When one man leaves the workforce, people call it a personal problem. When millions of men do it, it becomes a national one. These men lose income, skills, confidence, and social ties. Families lose stability, communities lose builders, fathers, and mentors. The economy loses workers and taxpayers. And the longer they stay out, the harder it is to bring them back. But shaming them won't work. You can call them lazy. You can tell them to toughen up. You can say previous generations had it harder. Maybe some of that is true, but shame is not a career path, and guilt does not pay rent. If America wants these men back, the deal has to change in ways people can actually feel. Work has to pay enough to move a person forward, not just keep them alive until the next bill shows up. Training has to lead to real jobs, not vague promises and motivational speeches. Hiring has to feel like a human process again, not a black hole with a resume upload button. And if healthcare, elder care, and technical services are where the jobs are growing, then we need to make those fields more accessible, normal, and respected for men, not just tell them to learn to code. The real issue is not that 10 million men woke up one day and decided work was bad. The real issue is that for too many of them, work stopped looking like a bridge to adulthood and started looking like a bill they could not afford to pay. So when we ask why 10 million men have given up on work, the answer is not one thing. It is not just laziness, it is not just wages, it is not just college, it is not just technology, it is a broken deal. For generations, America told men that if they worked hard, life would get better. Now millions of them are looking at the paycheck, the rent, the job postings, the dating market, the housing market, and the future, and they don't believe the deal anymore. So what do you think? Is there another reason men are walking away from work that people are not talking about? And more importantly, what would actually bring them back? Let me know in the comments, because this is one of those problems where the comment section might be just as important as the video itself.